Morning. Well, it's about 8:30ish. I've been awake, well, all night, basically. I didn't get very much sleep at all. But I think I started my day probably around 5 a.m. when it was still dark. And there was a beautiful, beautiful dawn over the river. I'm parked up at the ferry boat inn again. I moved here in the night. So dawn over the river was just absolutely beautiful. I took some photographs of it. I don't know whether they've come out or not. And just now, a huge flock of migrating geese flew overhead and made me quite excited. And I opened my blinds and was greeted by a beautiful sight on the river. It's a beautiful sunny day. Beautiful blue sky, sunshiny day. The light outside is lovely, but all the waterfowls have buggered off. This park up feels like waking up in Africa. I wouldn't be at all surprised if I saw a giraffe walking past and maybe some hippos wallowing at the side of the river. It just feels like, I don't know, the Serengeti. It feels very African here. I'm very happy. This is definitely my favourite park up. I love it here. It's very peaceful. Yeah. I'm at Ilam Park. I don't really want to be here. I wanted to be at a place called the Stepping Stones, but at first my sat-nav took me to a really unpleasant housing estate, and then I switched to my phone, and my phone brought me here. So I'm in the car park for a National Trust country park, which it's a pay and display car park. They want me to pay to stay here. I would do that, except I don't really want to be here. I want to be at the Stepping Stones, and I know there is a car park for the Stepping Stones. So I think I'm going to have a bit of a rest and just chill out, and then I'm going to go off in search of the car park that I meant to visit. Also, there's no signal here at all. Absolutely zero signal, so there's no point in me staying, and I'm certainly not paying to sit in a car park where I can't do anything because there's no signal. So we'll pick this up later. I can't find the Stepping Stones. I've driven up a hill. I'm now at high altitude. I'm looking for a dale, a valley. I'm looking for a river valley with a river in it and stepping stones across the river. How can it be this difficult? I mean, it's a nice place, I suppose. There are sheep here, but I want the river. I want the river with the stepping stones. I think the river is just down there. I can look down there. I think that's it. I think that's the river. I just can't get to it or find anywhere to park up. It's very important that I find a park up with a signal. I can't do anything without a signal. I'm very frustrated. There is some arresting scenery around here. Naturally, because I'm me, I didn't manage to capture most of the best stuff, but there are some really interesting hills. I can understand why they call this the Peak District. I just want to find my river. Is it bad that I'm standing in this area of admittedly exquisite beauty? And it's not good enough because it's not the river that I wanted with the stepping stones that I wanted. Am I spoiled? Yeah. I'm neither spoiled nor entitled. Too busy walking uphill. Again, spend my life walking up hills. Probably get lost when I get to the top. The hills are alive with the sound of logging. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but that apparently is what they're doing here. They're selling. The pub is closed. I've just spoken to the lady who I assume is the owner, the current owner. The pub's closed. It's not going to be opening again until the new management take over. So she's given me permission to park up for the night, which is a huge relief. I can't get a hot meal. I was hoping for a nice hot meal. Never mind. Seems like a really nice pub. If anyone's in the market to buy a really nice oldie-worldy pub in Derbyshire, in the Peak District, look at this, it's lovely. Although it's also a little bit spooky because it's deserted and abandoned. Ooh. Candles, I think. Yeah, table candles. It's an interesting place. It's quirky. It's huge as well. There's the part over there which I've just visited and spoken to the nice lady. Then there's all of this out here as well. This is all part of it. I mean, obviously this is part of the building, and nice big car park. Oh look, some dodgy gypsy has parked their campervan in the car park. Very naughty. Tut tut tut. Well, I think I found somewhere to park up for the night. I'm not sure if you could hear me outside and all the wind, so I'm telling you again. I'm parked up at the Old Dog, which is closed until new management takes over, and I think there may be some signal here for my phone and for my router. I will find out later, but it is saying 4G, but it's looking a little bit weak and flimsy. We'll see how it goes. But I am parked directly next to a field of cows. The smell of manure in the air is quite overpowering, but as I've mentioned before, I like that smell. So there are cows in the field, and I'm going to spend what's left of the daylight seeing if I can get some nice shots of them. It's about 5:30 in the evening, but it feels like midnight. I put myself to bed because I didn't get any sleep last night, and I spent what feels like most of today driving. I'm comfortable in this car park of the old dog pub, so yeah, I crashed out for a bit. And now I've woken up at 5:30 in the evening, feeling very confused and disoriented because it feels like the middle of the night. And in a couple of hours, I've got a Zoom scheduled, and then I'm going to go back to sleep and hopefully sleep through the whole night. That'll be really nice. Anyway, good night. Well, hello, good morning. It's 8:18 a.m. and I'm pretty steamy and quite stinky as well. That's the nature of being on the road. Just got my engine running for 5 or 10 minutes, warmed the van up a bit. Had a very disturbed night, got very little sleep. I parked stupidly under a tree, and the tapping and scratching of the branches against my roof kept me up because every time I fell asleep I would wake up to the sound of what I thought was a werewolf trying to get into the van. And I convinced myself that all it was the wind blowing the tree. However, this morning I decided that there's actually a squirrel or a group of squirrels who have been playing on my roof. I genuinely now believe that because there's not a single bit of wind anywhere, even inside the van, and the tree is completely motionless. It hasn't been blowing at all. However, the tapping and banging grew to such an intensity that in the end I was forced to get out of bed. I very carefully and quietly opened the skylight and poked my camera out through the roof. And the tapping and banging instantly ceased. Instantly. So whatever it was that was tapping and banging, it wasn't the tree. I didn't see on my camera what it was, but it wasn't the tree. So it was something alive, maybe a bird or a family of birds playing. Whatever it was, something was enjoying the fact that there was a new toy, a new playground under their tree. So the result of all of that is that I got very little sleep. However, I'm going to soldier on with fortitude, and I'm going to try and complete at least this one adventure before I go home and cry. Okay, here's the situation. I'm currently parked up in the sleepy village of Ilam, I think that's how it's pronounced, and I came here because I discovered the Dovedale car park. Finally, it's actually the place that my sat-nav was trying to take me to originally, but I misunderstood some signposts and ignored the sat-nav, and that's where I went wrong. Always follow the sat-nav, even if it leads you into the sea. Words to live by, or die by. Anyway, I'm in the sleepy village of Ilam, which consists of not very much at all. A pretty bridge, an old-fashioned telephone box, some ducks, a river, a couple of hotels, and the Ilam Country Park, where I almost parked up but didn't yesterday. And the reason I'm in Ilam is because the car park for Dovedale, the Dovedale car park, charges, which is fine, I'm happy to pay, but they only accept cash. They don't accept cards, and I only have a card. I have no cash on me. So I came to Ilam in the hope of finding a cash machine or a shop or somewhere where I could get some money out of my bank account, because it's my money and I want it. But Ilam doesn't have anything. There's nothing here at all. It's a very strange ghost town sort of place, apart from the country park, which probably is quite nice. I have no intention of exploring it. There's a very strange thing though. I parked up, and as soon as I parked up and got out of the van, women started arriving in Range Rovers. It's like there's some sort of bizarre, obsessive, cultish neighbourhood watch system in place, run by old women in welly boots with headscarves and sour faces. They didn't like the look of me at all, so no doubt I'll be run out of town before I even have a chance to spend any of my tourist dollars. But I'm here trying to get money so that I can use the car park and give them my money, and then I want to go for a walk and see the river and the stepping stones. But I've got a feeling this whole expedition is going to be a washout. Well, I'm just in the process of turning the van round at Ilam Country Park, where there's some sort of stately home or abbey or some such edifice. It's the sort of place I might have wanted to explore if the weather was a bit nicer and if the village was a bit more friendly. But I've just spoken to one of the locals and asked her if there was anywhere around here where I could get some money out so that I could spend some money here. And she said, "Oh, no. Oh, we don't do money around here, not in these parts. No money here. No, you'll have to go off to another place if you want to use money." So I'm going to go off to another place. Ilam's horrible. The whole atmosphere there is unwelcoming, unfriendly, mean-spirited, and the people there are unfriendly and mean-spirited as well. I was just shouted at by a postman because he thought it was my responsibility to reverse a mile up a windy uphill road because we were face to face. We met each other on a single track path, and he was in a little post van, a tiny dinky little post van, Postman Pat van, and he was right next to the exit from this road. He could have easily in 20 seconds reversed out of that road and given me room to get past, but he thought it was my job to reverse an 18-foot, 3.5-ton vehicle up a mile-long road just to get out of his way, and he shouted at me. I've had to pull over just to take my top off and cool down, literally and figuratively, because that really pissed me off. How rude! Rude! Well, I had every intention of going straight off on another adventure, but as it turned out, the altercation with Postman Pat had upset me, and so I headed home, and here I am, warm and getting clean in a nice hot bath. I'm going to wash that whole bad experience out of my mind and never think about it again. And on that note, I would like to, before I sign off, thank all of my subscribers, every single one of you. I recently passed 500. It's very exciting. I've been trying not to mention subscriber counts and view numbers and all of that sort of thing because I don't want to jinx myself. But it seems rude not to thank you. I'm so grateful to everyone who's subscribed and who watches my videos. I hope you will continue to enjoy my content. And on that note, I think I'll call it a day. Thank you very, very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time. See you later.